Welcome to the Alex Salmond Show. This week, the Six Nations Rugby Football Championship has opened across these islands. Today, we present a story which is set against the background of these magnificent contests. But it's really a story about courage and about how you face down the challenges that life can bring. I interviewed Doddie Weir, legendary Scottish lock forward, who made no less than 61 appearances for his national side. Now he faces his biggest match of all, against the muscle-wasting condition MND. That very special interview is coming up shortly. But first, I know our special edition on Holocaust Memorial excited a huge amount of interest. So let's hear from Taz with your emails, your tweets, and your messages.
Well, we've had lots of tweets in response to last week's Holocaust show. First from Fiona Brown, who says, "Interesting show, always informative, today poignant and respectful. Thanks." Morag Branson says, "Remembering the Holocaust, best show yet, emotional, humbling and inspiring." And then from Diane, who says, "Another excellent show, very respectful, poignant and should never be forgotten. Thank you, Alex." And thank you, Diane, for tweeting us. Lynn Finlayson says, "Very moving show this morning. Well done, Alex. Wish it could be on for longer." Well, I'll pass that on. Terry says, "Brilliant show, Alex. I particularly like your bits to camera at the end. Highlight of my week." Well, that's great to hear, Terry, but I'm so sorry I'm going to have to disappoint you this week when I'll be closing the show. Then we've got a message from Bibbit, who says, "Love the show. Watched everyone so far. Just one thing. Hate your studio's bricked up windows. The post-zombie apocalypse vibe is so last season." Oh, Bibbit, I quite like it, but we'll bear it in mind for the future. Dick Johnson refers to our Burns edition when he says, "Missed the singer's name. Maybe you could tweet the clip of him playing." Well, Dick, it was Ryan Joseph Burns, and hopefully you can find all of his brilliant material online.
Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, also known as motor neuron disease, is a rare and specific condition which causes the death of neurons controlling voluntary muscles. MND is characterised by stiff muscles, muscle twitching, and gradually worsening weakness due to muscles decreasing in size. It is a condition for which there is no known cure. Internationally, one of the best-known victims and long-term survivors is the cosmologist and theoretical physicist Professor Stephen Hawking, and the publicity about MND went viral in 2014 through the Ice Bucket Challenge, in which both celebrities and ordinary people took part across the globe. Meanwhile, in Scotland, it is a year since the death of political activist Gordon Aikman, whose brave struggle focused attention on nursing provision for the condition, while the Ewan MacDonald Centre at Edinburgh University, named after a long-term sufferer, pioneers stem cell research into the disease. However, right now, the disease is both progressive and incurable. And therefore, when someone in the public eye opens up as a victim of MND, it generates both sympathy and support. One such person is Doddie Weir, one of the most famous and best-loved figures in international rugby. He decided last year to go public about his condition. I interviewed him at Murrayfield Stadium, the home of Scottish rugby, and scene of some of his greatest games as a player. Well, Doddie Weir, I mean, here at Murrayfield, this must bring back a few memories.
It does, yeah, very much, yeah. It seems such a long time ago now, and it is a long time ago since I was involved with playing on the pitch, and it's moved on. It's on a new pitch now. It's looking absolutely splendid.
61 caps. 61 caps for Scotland.
Well, yeah, that would be very fortunate, yeah.
I mean, there was nobody else.
Well, none of
your
my
size.
height, yes, exactly. And that's what I keep saying. I'm very lucky through the 90s. But there's a lot of people you've got to thank that made life a lot easier for me. The likes of Jim Telfer. Outstanding part he's played in Scottish rugby and kind of world rugby, and if it wasn't him, he was my coach at Melrose and obviously Scotland and the British Lions, so if he wasn't involved I probably wouldn't have been selected. But then you've got others round about you in the field that make you look better than you actually are, so the hookers throwing the ball in, if they didn't get accurate, then I wouldn't have been able to catch it as well. So down to them, yeah, a great time, and a lot of lovely people I've met and a lot of good memories as well.
The legendary Bill McLaren described one of your forays as like a mad giraffe.
He also said leaping like a salmon as well, actually. It was quite complimentary. I think he said once or twice I was all ears and nothing else. And I think on an occasion he maybe mentioned I was as useful as a lighthouse in a desert, which was not so complimentary, but he's sadly missed. He played a big part as well in making the game of rugby exciting.
And I love watching it here because this, in my view, is one of the great atmosphere stadiums in the world. A lot of stadiums look pretty, but they have no atmosphere. This looks pretty inside and it has great atmosphere.
When we play in the big games, like say Scotland, England, you don't get any bigger than that. On the field, we would be as close to each other in the lineouts. We couldn't hear the lineout calls because the noise was just so great on the field because the bounds off the roof onto the pitch. And with that sort of atmosphere...
Is that why you were so successful in the lineout? Because you couldn't hear the calls?
They just chuck it to the big boy and he'll catch it. But yeah, and with that, it's difficult to explain to people, but that's what makes you enjoy the game.
And you were known as the line-out specialist. And was that basically because of the rest of the Scotland team weren't as big as you and you're the one that caught the ball?
Well, you might not believe this, but I think a lot had to do with my junior years. I was involved in the horses. I enjoyed the pony club. I used to ride horses and it was sort of my main love for a while. Competed at the Scottish Horse Trial Championships and I think that helped me in the line-out. So when you're getting propelled to the height of some double-decker buses, you've got to be pretty good on the core and understand how to move in the air, and with the horses and stuff you get that sort of balance, and I did think it helped me get where I am in the game of rugby as well. And then obviously with the courses and the dressage tests, you've got to understand the reason behind it all and try and work out the quickest route.
In your British Lion, you went on tour. You picked up a really bad injury in that tour. Was that in South Africa?
South Africa, yes, 97, just over 20 years ago now. But yeah, that's just part of the game of rugby. The Lions is quite special. It's the home unions to get on that tour every 4 years is a bit like the Olympics and the athletics. So to get the letter through was great to go on the tour. And yeah, unfortunately to be injured, it was a sad day, but to actually be able to witness it first end was pretty special for myself and the family.
Now, of all the moments you had, what was your favourite moment in the rugby pitch?
I think it's probably similar to you, if I was to ask you the same question, what's your favourite part in sort of politics? I've had such a great time over 20, 30 years, travelling the world, meeting a lot of people. Certain games you remember, like your first cap, the 10th of November 1990 against Argentina here, was pretty special for me. I've been involved in 3 World Cups, sort of numerous rugby tours, numerous rugby games here as well, and with that everyone's kind of special. And on the back of rugby as well, been away to Lapland to try and find Santa Claus with the BBC Question of Sport. So again, down to rugby, I've had some pretty memorable times.
Did you find him, and did you ask for Scotland to win the next World Cup?
I did ask a lot of things from him, but I didn't find him. I just found his elves there. I think he was quite busy that day, which was a bit annoying, but what a great country that was as well to go and visit. But back to the rugby, World Cups, 91, we managed to get to the semi-final, which was great for Scotland, and 95 again in the World Cup. You won't believe it, I scored 2 tries in one match.
Everybody's meant to score tries, but you weren't the 3 try scorer in the team. That wasn't your job.
It wasn't my job.
2 in one match. You must have had a fair amount of fun with some of your colleagues after the game.
Well, I did, because it was quite a unique game as well. It was against New Zealand. But it didn't mean that I had a very good try-scoring record. When you mentioned I've scored 4 out of 61, so there was quite a lot of barren spells. But yes, as a forward, you're there to try and win the ball ultimately for the backs, the pretty boys of the team, to score the tries and make the points, and they take all the glory, like the Hastings system. I mean, Gavin and Scott Hastings. Took all the glory as well, but justified because they're good players.
So you're Melrose, Scotland, Newcastle, and then back to the Borders late in your career. When did you decide that it's time to hang up your boots? When you couldn't jump anymore? What was the thing that? And how did you feel when you said, right, oh God, that's the last game of rugby I'll be playing at competitive level?
Well, I think everybody knows when the end is in sight, and with ourselves we were able to make the decision. But coming back to the Borders was quite, because I've always been one to be quite loyal for the jersey. So I possibly could have gone and played another 5 years at other clubs throughout the sort of world if required. But again, it wasn't what I wanted to do, get paid for playing for a club that I didn't know. So the clubs that I was involved with, like Melrose and Newcastle and the Borders, was very special. And with that thought it was the ultimate end there. And with that, to believe it or not, like, it just got a bit too serious. Maybe difficult to say, but you've got to enjoy what you do. And I was training 5 times a day in the later years, and people who know me know that I don't really enjoy training, and with that it just wasn't enjoyable. And when you don't enjoy something, you've kind of got to get up and move on. You've got to enjoy what you're doing, and it comes an end, and sometimes you know that yourselves. But I had a good innings. 35-year-old is when I finished, and that was it. And then now I'm enjoying life.
And on the players you played against, the great players of the day, which was the one that really stood out for you? Which is the one who sprinted past you and you couldn't get near them?
Well, there was quite a lot of them because I wasn't that fast. But I think the one that springs to me was probably Jonah Loomer.
Oh, yeah.
He was just outstanding, just a great athlete, huge, powerful, had skills. His legs were massive, and to touch him was pretty impressive. To try and tackle him was even better, but not many people did that. And then seeing him run through so many people when he played against England was quite special.
I remember that game. Yeah. I was cheering them on.
I think a lot of people around the world were as well. But he was, and sadly not here anymore, but he was quite phenomenal to be involved in the game. He propelled the game to where it is now.
Now, looking at this Scotland team, a little bit disappointing result last Saturday, but what do you think the prospects are for the side you see developing in Scotland now?
Well, I think they've done very well. They were a bit fortunate last Saturday, but with Gregor Townsend, he knows what to do. The team know that they didn't perform as well. So moving forward, I think it's a good time. They were unfortunate in some ways because they had a fantastic autumn test. So whether they went in a bit confident, it's always difficult to tell, because Scotland always prefer going as the underdog, and at the moment they went in as favourites to do quite well in the back of their performance against Australia and New Zealand. So, but with Gregor Townsend, they'll regroup. And they're going on to, I think, unfortunately they've lost the Triple Crown and a few other bits, but they're going on to hold their heads high and perform well in the rest of the Six Nations.
And if they get top of the ground, because they're a quick side, you think they could do some damage in the World Cup coming?
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt, yes. Unfortunately, there's a few injuries have happened at the moment to Scotland's squad, but with any luck they can get better and get back playing again. But it's a very exciting side. I think it's 7 or 8 tries against Australia was just outstanding, and that shows the ability that they have to score, which has not been prevalent in recent years. So everyone, the stadiums have been sold out for many a month already, and just shows you the support they've got because of the way that they're playing. And I think everyone's behind them. There's home games that are going to happen, and that's what really people would like to see and support them. You'll see that, and the mighty Murrayfield on Sunday is going to be a wash of Scots fans against the French, and it's an exciting time ahead.
National governments in various locations still don't even understand what cryptocurrency is, how mining works, what Bitcoin does. And that confusion and that learning curve that they haven't bothered to climb leads to a lot of missed policy choices, messed up policy choices, and it's because of a massive confusion out there. So little is known about Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies at all levels of government, most levels of the consumer world, and even within the crypto community itself.
Despite its turbulent history, the Soviet Union always dominated international sport. However, little was known about the lives of those champions from behind the Iron Curtain.
В 1941 году война началась. Мне было 10 лет.
Зажигательные бомбы, прямо как горох они летят. И ребенок есть ребенок. Выскакивал из подворотни, и вот хватаешь за стабилизатор ее и в воду.
The first Soviet Olympic team of 1952 included siege survivors, concentration camp prisoners, and front-line soldiers.
В 1944 они проверили нас физкультуру, но девочки вообще никакие. А мальчики, наверное, еще хуже. Он говорит, ну-ка покажи, можешь ты метать? Я могу. С 3 шагов эту гранату как запустила через эти деревья. Он говорит, вот это да.
И дальше все пошло. энтузиазм был такой. Не думали о том, что можно перетренироваться, вот это все, как пьяные на буфет. Значит, так и мы.
I'm completely confused about why a Republican administration made a change that was essentially part of the democratic philosophy. I can only think that somewhere deep within what they call the deep state in the US Treasury, there were left-leaning bureaucrats who implemented this change to a territoriality-based system of taxation without anybody actually being aware of what was going on.
I'm here at Murrayfield Stadium in Edinburgh, the home and the heart of Scottish rugby. I'm here to interview a Scotland legend, Doddie Weir, a man who fought many great battles on this pitch behind me. Now he's engaged in the greatest battle of all, his struggle against motor neuron disease. So tell us when you realised that there was an onset of something that couldn't be explained, because you've developed motor neuron disease. So how did that, what was the first symptom you detected?
The first symptom was maybe nearly 2 years ago now. To date, I caught my hand in a door on my farm, and being a boarder's boy and being a farmer, you kind of shake it a little bit and go, it'll be fine Monday. And with that, I lost a little bit of power. So 3 months later, I thought, this is not very clever, it's not healed up, and my skin started to throb.
Because you're still a fit guy, because you're working on the farm, and that's enough, keeps Andy fit. So you'd notice.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, there was definitely notice just when I got cold as well. Fingers started tingling a little bit more than did. This was in the left hand. Right hand was fine. So I knew there was something up. But again, just never for one day thought what it ultimately ended up to be. So 3 months later, my skin started twitching, and I kind of thought, there might be a wee issue here, and then did the deed of having a look on Google, and thought, sugar and spice, we're in a bit of trouble here. This test started thereafter, and with MND, there is no official test to say you've got it. So you've got to go through a number of tests to say that this is not what it is. So lumbar punctures is quite painful. You've got to go brain scans, which again, they didn't find anything. Got to go shock therapy. You've got to get ultimate blood tests and stuff. And it was deduced in December, just 14 months ago, that MND was the issue.
Obviously, when you get that confirmed, that must be an extraordinary moment to realise that your worst fears are confirmed. Well, were you more or less certain in your mind that that's what you had, or were you hoping that it might be something else that hadn't been explained?
Kind of settled, that's what we had, but I've always taken the bad or the negative side of things. So when the rugby, I always thought when the team got announced I was going to get dropped. So if I was dropped, I was expecting it, so it wouldn't be a shock. If I was in the team, I was quite delighted. I'm back in, I'm still there.
You didn't get dropped too often, don't you? 61 caps.
Now and again I did, and the reason behind that, and the same was the attitude for MND. I had an idea that this is what it was, and everything propelled to that, what it was. So when I got told it was, okay, right, what do we do now? It was a ticket that someone has given me, so let's get on and just try and see if we can try and get something sorted.
The first people you'd tell would be your family. You've got 3 boys?
3 boys, yeah.
Right. And how tough was that? I mean, to tell the wider family that, look, there's something really serious?
It was a difficult time, because we the good lady and I, Kelly and I, found out when on the 23rd of December, so pre-Christmas. So we didn't say anything till mid-January to everyone, because we were at my mum's and my sister's for Christmas, because mum at the time wasn't very well. She had cancer. Thankfully she's still here with treatment and one thing and another. So that didn't really help. We didn't want to propel the agony and things with that. And so we kept it till mid-January and told the family just briefly what was going on, because it makes life a lot easier. You're not trying to hide so much when you have to go to maybe doctor's visits and stuff and hospital visits. So they were able to cover. And eventually we told the wider world, went public in June, which was possibly the correct timing. We thought about it doing maybe mid-February, but my eldest kid was on exams, and we didn't want that to affect his exams, so hence we kept it to June. So it's been pretty well timetabled, because I've got a great team behind me. I've got trustees who you mentioned have been very helpful.
So you decided not just to go public with your condition, but also to get the foundation going to try and do something about it. So was that something you talked over with the family? Because obviously when you decide to go public with something like that, it means that the wider interest in your condition is quite a different thing from handling an illness with yourself and your family. So that was a big decision to make.
It was, but it was an easy decision, if I can say this, and then maybe I have to ask you a question in a wee second, because when I got diagnosed, the professor basically said, there's your nurses, go and see what you've got to do. And since then it's been like taking your broken down car into the garage, and you've got to diagnose the issue and you've got to go and fix it. That's been the frustrating thing for MND, that the medical profession have not really been that helpful on the drug side of things to try and stop or cure this issue. The nurses behind the scene have been absolutely fantastic, because there is only one drug available, and that's Riluzole, and it came out 22 years ago. So the reason behind it, that's where my frustration, that there's been no clinical trials since then in Scotland. So the question has to be, did you know this was the case?
I didn't know there hadn't been a clinical trial, but my expectation would be as to why there haven't been more drugs developed is the number of people who suffer from the condition is quite limited. It's a rare condition. And drugs companies, being drugs companies, tend to target their drug development at conditions are going to sell to. And that
might be quite rare, but then it's been on, this condition been on for a number of years, and it's not a new condition, and that's where my frustration was.
Which would tell you that there should be a public intervention to get the scientific research going.
Especially as it's a terminal illness at the moment as well, and we like to try and change that. So everyone who really has MD has a certain lifespan.
How many people in Scotland?
500, I think, there or thereabout, yeah. So a small percentage have it, and it's a selective group, and we're speaking to quite a few people, and I'm quite fortunate, as I mentioned, because I've had maybe 14 months to spend with family and friends and have some great experiences and great memories, because a lot of people are doing a lot of things for me. Where somebody was on the email the other day, he got 3 months, 101 days of being told to death, and he's only 38 and 2 young kids.
So you've had a tremendous public, I mean, you were on this pitch when and got an extraordinary, warm, loving, emotional response from the Murrayfield. What did that do to you when you saw just the fact that all these fans want to say, let's get behind Donny?
It was just phenomenal. I think it goes back to like in your first camp, it just happened so quick. The adrenaline and everything was there, a very special game as well. But thanks have to be for that to Gregor Townsend. He's been a fantastic support. Same with his team, same with the Scottish Rugby Union, but same with behind the scenes. It's very difficult to put in words the support and the generosity that I've received. It's just everybody, to Mrs. Smith sending me a little letter to say best wishes, big man, to people donating quite large sums of money, to people coming in the street to say, big man, love what you're doing, here's £20 towards your foundation and stuff. And with that, I think everyone's embraced the story, but the ultimate story is to try and get a fix.
So how much does the foundation raise to date? What sort of figure are you up to?
There's a couple of pound in there at the moment. We've just come off the back of a fantastic called the Tartan Giraffe Ball down in Kelso. And,
after the Bill McLaren description.
Very much that. And it raised quite a lot of money through some great old friends who I've grown up with, and David Baird, Stuart Bennett and Dougie Stephen put it together, and what a function they did, and we had a lot of support from people. Jackie Stewart did a video footage, Ricky Ross from Deacon Blue was involved, John Beattie Band, the whole setup was fantastic. The day before, we had a rugby friend, Stuart Grimes, had a haggis supper in Newcastle, of which 12 to 20 old rugby players walked 55 miles from the haggis to take a decent haggis from Jedburgh down to Newcastle, and I think Gary Armstrong still...
Did you bring coal back the way?
No, there's no chance. We could hardly walk on the way home. And with that, there's a lot of things happen. Kenny Logan put a massive dinner on down in London to propel the awareness and again funds. So the funds are building, but what we've gone and done is sanctioned a kind of review of where MND is in the world. And we've done that as a team to try and put sort of business structure to where MND is. And obviously once we find a solution and where the professors and the people involved in MND think the best way is to go, and that's the route we're going to propel. So with the funds, that's what we've done at the moment.
You said that Sir Jackie Stewart had done a video for you. Jackie's involved in a similar campaign because Lady Helen has dementia, and he's targeting his efforts at the Mayo Clinic and one of the great American research units. So you're looking around the world to see where the cutting edge of research is in the condition.
Yes, we have. Yes, we've got a team that's doing that just now. But on the back of what you're saying, yes, I've just recently come back from New York last week. Got an invitation of a lovely guy, Brian Kennedy, who's involved in the rugby as well, or was involved. He was the owner of Saleshot. Invited me across there to see some specialists. And with that, I've come back with a lot of great ideas of people who are willing and trying to give it a go. And again, my question always is, why should we need to do that? To go out there.
And how about the Scottish Health Service? I mean, have you been to see Shona Robinson, the Health Secretary, or some of the other MSPs or the directors of the Health Service in Scotland to ask?
We haven't yet,
questions?
because I've been putting a lot of my trust into my professor and doctors, and at the moment we're always coming up against a closed door. Because again, going back to the car analogy, I've been putting a lot of things to them, but because the medical board in the NHS, they've got strict rules, they just don't allow things to happen. But we're in a very special situation. This is a terminal illness,
yes,
and people want to try something. To try something gives a little bit of hope, and any hope is good hope. But at the moment, it's not happening here, and we've got to go. Well, I'm the fortunate one that's able to get friends and family out to New York to try and look at some new treatment. There's a lot of people back home don't have that opportunity, and we need to get that changed.
Scotland, of course, has a great record in drug trials for a number of conditions because we have a relatively stable population, which for drug trials is one of the. But often for the rare illnesses, you have to have enough people for a trial. But it certainly, given the breakthroughs that Scotland has been responsible for in medicine, it would be a fantastic thing if we could apply our minds to this condition.
I think it's there. There's a lot of good people doing, I think, a lot of good work. We just need to maybe relax the rules a bit to try things, because a lot of myself in our situation would be quite happy to do something. Because at the moment it's not been done, but the Americans seem to be more up to trying things and giving things a go.
And as you say, when you're facing this condition, then it's the time to, like sometimes in the rugby field, to take a few risks.
Yeah, definitely, and this is probably why I think I'm bringing this into the game to give it a go. There is an issue here, and I would like to. There is a battle ahead. It's like Scotland, England, big battle, big important battle, and I'm certainly here for a fight, and we're going to try and give it a go.
The SRU and the Welsh Union have arranged a special match for you this November in Wales. That's going to be some occasion, isn't it, Dory?
Very special and very, just very honoured that happened and came about. But I'm looking forward to see the size of the cup. Hopefully it's got big handles and it'll kind of represent my ears in quite a way. And I was saying this the other day, it's quite nice that this has happened, because normally it happens when you're not here. So quite nice I could witness it and have a good time being there at the same time. So thanks to both parties for what they're doing. And again, it goes back to the generosity and support that I've received to make people aware of this horrific condition, because basically it's a muscle wasting condition, and you're debilitated, you can't do anything for yourself eventually, can't eat, can't move, can't clothe, can't go to the toilet, can't breathe even. So it's not a nice way to the end, and this is why we need to just publicise to a lot of people that we need a bit of help to try and find a solution, or at least a stoppage. And with what the Welsh Rugby Union, Scottish Rugby Union and all the other people throughout the world, it's just been phenomenal what they're doing for us, and hopefully one day we can find it.
Well, you're going to mobilise lots and lots of people behind you, Dory, you know that, and every success to you. There's one last thing. It's not quite the Dory Weir Cup, but everybody appears in the show gets the Alex Salmon Quaich. The whiskey, of course, you have to supply yourself. And it's not the biggest quake I've seen, but it's given to you with great,
Alex, well,
good wishes and support, sir.
Thank you very much for everything you've done. Thank you very much. Very nice.
When we listen to stories such as that of Doddie Weir, we are left in awe of the personal courage it requires to face down such an illness. Doddie remarked to Alex that this was the hand he had been dealt, and therefore he should get on with the task. The same steely resolve which he displayed on the pitch, he will now devote to this, his greatest challenge of all. Murrayfield Stadium is famous for a special roar from the stands as the Scotland team surges forwards. So let us hope that the international roar which now supports Doddie in his battle helps propel humanity forward to finally humble this crippling disease. So from all of us here at the Alex Salmond Show, we hope to see you next week.